The view offered here is that Matthew intentionally cited 4 women in his genealogy to draw attention not to 4 persons, but to 4 Old Testament stories that illustrate a common point. The allusions span the Old Testament periods of the patriarchs, the conquest, the judges, and David's kingdom, and in each case a Gentile showed extraordinary faith in contrast to Jews who were greatly lacking in their faith.
My name is Sophia. I am a follower of the Way and a member of a local house church. Living in a society such as this, a patriarchal society, I cannot go outside in public by myself without the company of my husband. I have no voice outside of the house church, and listening to the stories passed down from generation to the next about the gospel of Jesus and his ministry, about women who were involved in that particular ministry, women who, like myself, could not go outside without the company of a man. Hearing that and now seeing Matthew's gospel, in which he includes women in his genealogy, to me give me a sense of place. What I mean by that is he includes Rahab, Sarah, and Hagar in that particular genealogy of Jesus. And I feel that that's empowering, because he's saying that if God can use those women despite their sexual promiscuity or perceived sexual promiscuity, then God can surely use me.
In his analysis, John Hutchinson, in Women, Gentiles, and the Messianic Mission in Matthew's genealogy, he makes 4 simple implications. First, the inclusion of the 4 Old Testament women highlights that their background as sinners and God's grace in accepting them. His second implication is that the inclusion of the women celebrates the inclusion of Gentiles in Messiah's genealogy and mission. Thirdly, the Old Testament women, like Mary, all had unusual marital situations and even sexual scandal in their past. And lastly, the fourth, the inclusion of women reveals Matthew's defense of the Davidic messianic viewpoint in contrast to those who supported a priestly line. No matter which one of these assertions we deem to be accurate, it is essential for us to notice that out of all of the synoptic gospels, it is Matthew's that names these women specifically.
The social invisibility of women in public life in Greco-Roman antiquity is striking compared to many other cultures. But social invisibility is conceptual. The fact that women may not be addressed in public settings does not mean that they were not there. The evidence for women in businesses and professions demonstrates that social invisibility is not actual invisibility.
In A Woman's Place, House Churches in Earliest Christianity, Carol Osiek does a marvelous job of exploring the role of women throughout the first century. And she does this within the Greco-Roman time period. And she shows that the role of a woman is not just limited to mother, wife, or daughter, but shows in the construct of the house church the role of women of high status. They were the cornerstone for church development. Believe it or not, they were able to make ways for widows and function independently without their husbands. The house church was breeding ground for women to lead the way in having banquet funerals and being the one to lift the cup and to give the speech. And we see that even though women submitted to patriarchal norms, that they still managed to navigate their way to exercise power and authority in a world that didn't really recognize